Good morning, everybody. Chef Spidey with another episode. Today we're going to be making a great traditional breakfast, and that is Eggs Benedict. I know that there are some fears to making our hollandaise sauce and how to poach an egg and when and how to use clarified butters, but we'll go through each one of the steps for you so that you feel comfortable with those things to work with. So, starting right off, clarifying butter. How important is it? Why we use it? Ultimately, clarifying butter is taking out the milk solids from it so that you're taking that butter and turning it into an oil base so that there's a higher flash point on it. It's really simple to clarify butter. All we do is just take some cold refrigerated butter, and we're going to bring it over to the pan here. You can heat this up to higher temperatures because by taking the milk solids out of it, you're not going to burn anything anymore. So ultimately, all we're doing in this is we're just taking some butter and putting it into a pot, just as simple as this. And we're going to bring this butter up to a boil. The great thing about clarified butter is that by doing that, you're removing the milk solids, and it stores, and you have a better shelf life for it. So taking the milk out of it, really it's just an oil, and it's going to store better. The uses for clarified butter are things like sauteing and frying and baking, and taking that water out of the butter itself also stops it from spattering on the pan too. So while we allow this butter to boil down, you can see that right away you can start seeing that with the butter there's your oils and your milk fats. So we're going to let this boil, and we'll come back and we'll show you what to do with the next step. Started boiling. You can turn the heat off, okay? And what we have is we have all these milk solids. All that white foam is the milk solids on the top of the butter. So what we do here is a process of scraping the top and getting those milk solids off the top of the butter. And the reason that we do this is so that what we're left with after all is said and done is the butter oil itself. So just take a ladle, lightly scrape the top until all of the milk fats are done. Okay, so now we've got a more clarified version of this butter, and what I've done is I've saved the milk fats in a separate container because they're great for things like popcorn and for baking purposes. It's going to be that's where most of your flavor is. But the oils that are left over, you can see that there's just a little bit of milk solids on top, and then a little bit of the milk fats on the bottom too. So for this purpose, for clarifying butter for the Eggs Benedict, this is a good level of where we're at. So when you go to pour these out, you can also, if you pour slow enough, you should be able to pour most of the oil out so that that little bit of milk fats that are in there you can keep at the bottom, and we'll throw those also into that. So this is what we're doing with our clarified butter, okay? This is great for a lot of purposes. Again, it's for deep sauteing, frying, baking, really any cooking methods that use an oil base, because now you don't have that milk solid in it, and it's not going to burn when you go to cook it. So once we have that, we can put this off to the side. It is important also that clarified butter, again, stores for a lot longer time. So you can refrigerate it, you can keep it out on the counter, and then again, make sure that we don't waste any product. We can use this. Everybody loves popcorn. Dominic, do you love popcorn?
I do.
This is a great thing for the top of popcorn, nice and salty and creamy. Okay? Hollandaise sauce is something that a lot of chefs kind of fear, because there are opportunities where you can break the eggs themselves, and by breaking, pretty much what that means is because this is an emulsified product, and emulsification is mixing a water and an oil together. So what we're doing is we're going to be taking some egg yolks, a little bit of lemon juice for acidity, and putting the emulsified or the clarified butter into it. And the important part to remember in this is that when you do this, you have to keep moving. You have to keep using that whisk and keep moving the product around. And you don't want to undercook the eggs. You don't want to overcook them because then they turn into scrambled eggs. So this is kind of a delicate process. So first, what we have to do is we have to take 4 of these eggs and we need to separate the yolks from the whites. Okay, so we're going to get ourselves another bowl. The easiest way that I've ever done this is by using your hands. I know a lot of people have a tough time with how this goes. So taking 4 eggs, cracking them, okay? All right. And just putting them through like that. And you have your yolk by itself, okay? Once you have your egg yolk by itself, put that into a separate bowl. And we'll do that 4 times. Your egg whites and your egg yolks in separate containers. And remember, people, wash your hands. Now that we're back, we do have our water at a simmer and we have our double boiler system set up. We're going to take these 4 egg yolks, okay, and we're going to take a half a lemon and we're going to squeeze. Always, when you're squeezing these, you know, put your other hand below just to catch the seeds and any type of pulp. It's really all we want is that lemon juice for the acid. Okay, squeeze it out. All right, mix it around a little bit, and into the double boiler we go. We also need about a 1/4 cup of water. Okay. Put that 1/4 cup of water in. Okay, and we are going to start mixing this. And what I'm doing here is I'm taking the double boiler top part itself and I'm kind of lifting it up and putting it back down, making sure that we don't ever really stop. Okay, this is a emulsification. Again, it's that mix of oil and water, and you're just going to keep whipping, keep whipping. It's going to take a little bit of time to do. You're going to notice that if you leave it on the double boiler and it starts cooking the eggs too fast, you're going to start getting on the sides here, you're going to start getting scrambled eggs, really. So just keep whipping and whipping until there's no liquid left at the bottom, so that when you go to scrape with the whisk, you're going to see that you'll create lines in it. So just keep going with it. It's going to be tough, but this is how our true, real hollandaise is made. All right, I'm going to lift it back up again because it looks like it's getting a little bit too hot. The foam that's being created on top, really the whole product itself is going to be foamy at that point. So we're just keep whisking and whisking until it's completely done. It's almost there. Okay, looks pretty good to me. Taking it off before we end up getting any type of scrambled eggs on the top of it. Now this is the important part. We're going to turn this off and turn that water off, and we are going to start adding that clarified butter to it. Okay? And the clarified butter has to be added very slowly. This is the emulsification right here. You're adding this very, very slowly so that if you add the butter too fast, it ends up separating. Okay? So we're adding this butter in just a little bit at a time. We're making sure that that's completely getting, and you know, sometimes things spill and take a little bit more. Now, with this recipe, and we're doing 4 egg yolks, the most amount that this will be able to handle is about 4 to 6 ounces of clarified butter. And that's really about what I have after taking those products. And sorry about the kids in the background. This is the story of our lives right now.
It's one kid, though, making the noise.
Okay, so we'll blame it on the 2-year-old. Fair enough. Okay, remember, getting that butter in. little bit at a time. Okay. I think we're just about there. Okay, this is our hollandaise sauce, guys. It turned out absolutely perfect.
Looks like pudding.
Okay, so now that this is done, the hollandaise sauce can be stored at room temperature off to the side. You just want to kind of keep it in an area where it's warm, and this will hold for a few hours. You don't really want to refrigerate hollandaise sauce because it's really not going to have the same consistency once it's done. Put that off to the side. Okay, then we'll come back and we'll talk about the other essential parts of making a Eggs Benedict. But the hardest part's out of the way, folks. The hollandaise sauce looks beautiful. We'll do the last couple parts and ready to eat. The next step is poaching an egg. It's very simple to poach an egg. I can show you the method that I like to use. We got the water almost at a boil here. We're going to do a vortex method. So we're going to stir this water as fast as you can without spilling it everywhere. Okay, creating that whirlpool in the middle. All right, going faster and faster. Okay, simple way to poach an egg. Get that water going. Take your egg. And drop it in. Now, we'll wait about 3 minutes max for that egg to solidify, and at the same time gives you that nice liquidy center that you're still looking for. Then the other thing that I like to do on the side here is I like to have a plate with some paper towels on it, because once that egg is poached, you want to get it out of the water and put it onto something like a dry surface. I like to only do one egg at a time. And the reason why I like to do only one egg at a time is because I like to keep the egg itself together. So now that you can see that the egg is formed together in a pretty tight piece, we'll give that about 2.5, maybe 3 minutes max. And we'll pull that out and we'll put it onto the paper towel. Okay, now that we've waited about 2.5 to 3 minutes, we're just going to go under here. We're going to take our spoon. Let the water drip out of there. Okay. We're going to come over here, put it onto the paper towel. Next part in our Eggs Benedict is the Canadian bacon. However, a lot of people don't have Canadian bacon in their house. What you can do is just use some sliced deli ham. So what we'll do is we're going to get a nice heat on these cast iron pans. You can use the clarified butter if you have any left over, or you can just put a little bit of olive oil in there. Just get a nice heat on them. All right. Once you get that pan heated up a little bit, all we're going to do is just throw our ham slices in here. And obviously, because the ham's already cooked, all we're doing with this, we're just heating them up, getting a nice little brown sear on them, and then we'll put these off to the side to go with our last part of it, which is the English muffins. Okay, now that the ham has a nice brown sear on it, we're going to take these off of the pan. Then we're going to put a little bit of butter in the pan. Put these off to the side. Put a little bit of butter into the pan.
Sounds like bacon.
Yeah, Canadian bacon and ham. This is going to be the part where you can either do one of two things. You take an English muffin like this, okay, slice it down the middle. You can use this pan to make a nice toasting on the outside and a nice soft side on the out there, or you can just throw it into the toaster. Throw that butter down. Nothing better than cooking on a cast iron pan. Get that butter nice and melted.
So Canadian bacon or ham are like the same thing?
Pretty close to the same thing, yeah. And we're going to take these 2 pieces of English muffin, soak up some of that butter, get a nice toast onto them. And once we get a toast onto those two, we're going to come back and I'll show you how to plate an Eggs Benedict the best way. You're ready to plate. Got a nice brown toast on the inside of the English muffins. We're going to follow me over to the plate. Starting with our English muffins on the bottom, we're going to take some of this nice browned up ham or Canadian bacon, depending on what type of ingredients you have at home. Put a couple slices down. One more on that one. And one more on that one. Okay. Our next step is the poached eggs. Sometimes this can be kind of tricky, but really if we just get underneath it with our tongs, put that on there. Okay. Poached egg on top. And then beautiful velvet creamy hollandaise sauce. Nice scoop on top. Okay. Another nice scoop on the other one. All right. Then we finish it with a little bit of crushed pepper, the salt, some paprika, and a little bit of parsley. There you have it, folks. Dominic, you want to come around here and we'll show them the nice cut on this. Our Eggs Benedict with the poached egg. Come through here, cut it right down the middle. Perfectly done. Thanks, folks, again for tuning in to another episode of Chef Spidey. We've learned a lot today. We've learned how to clarify butter, how to make one of the most velvety, creamy hollandaise sauces, and learned how to make ourselves some homemade Eggs Benedict. Again, make sure that you like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit the notification bell. I'm going to be doing videos every day. Thank you again for all the support from my friends and my family. Remember that in these times, it is important that we do things together as a family. I've been doing these videos so that we have ideas of getting the kids and getting the families involved. So again, from Chef Spidey, stay safe. Now, to try and get my toughest person in the family to try and eat something. No. No?
I thought that was me.
No. No.
No? Okay, well, can you at least say goodbye? Say bye-bye. Say bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
No, we're not.